Hi, Mark. Welcome around the Workstand.
Hello, Susie. Welcome to this is going to be the final around the workstand for 2024, not the final forever, but
No.
but welcome to the end of a wild year.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. But yeah, it's the week of Thanksgiving. We're gonna take a little breather in December, collect ourselves,
Yeah.
and make some plans for next year.
Yes, we are excited to continue the podcast. It's grown a lot.
Hmm.
Our overall market size, the potential's a little small, just bike
We're
shops.
we're a bit of a
Yeah,
niche
we
industry.
we are
Niche.
definitely a niche podcast.
Yeah.
It's grown a lot. And today we're just going to, I don't know, review a few things, good stuff that happened here at Workstand throughout the year, changes we made, advances we advanced,
We advanced.
and then maybe talk a little bit about what we think we might do next year with the podcast.
Yeah, that sounds good. Should we kind of kick it off with maybe some um kind of, I guess, major enhancements, partnerships of 2024 with Workstand?
Yeah, let's talk about supplier services because we kind of doubled down on those services, and our good friend Matt Lawley
Yeah.
stepped up in that in a role there to really grow those relationships with suppliers. It's been
Hmm.
a big thing. So he got a lot of things done this year.
Yeah,
Uh, but
absolutely.
but recently he signed on a few new Supplier Sync partners, and
Hmm.
some of them are, all of the ones he signs on are significant, but
Yeah.
these were just extra helpful given the market that we're trying to serve.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I guess maybe a quick, like, what Supplier Sync is. It allows retailers, it's a warehouse connection to their
Yep.
brands and suppliers, and allows them to display their brands and suppliers inventory. It's also a connection for sale prices, so that's really helpful as well.
Yep.
On their websites.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
beautiful because if you can sell out of a warehouse, it just helps broaden
Hmm.
the offering you have to your customers because it truly gets closer to representing what you can provide to your customers, but they get to see it without having to come into the store and talk about it. It just shows up on your website. And that is a huge search gain because so much of what we do around here is just trying to help local retailers win search.
Hmm.
And because more searches than not these days are for things, being able to display more of those things on your website means you win more of those searches and get more people in the store and sell more stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's this is, maybe I'm biased. I think it's one of the most powerful ways that a brand and supplier can kind of invest in their retailers, help them
Yeah.
kind of reach more shoppers, expand their inventory without necessarily having to overextend themselves,
Yeah.
all that good stuff. So,
Well, the brands, I don't want to belabor this, but
oh yeah,
they invest a lot in different lines of products. And if you
yeah,
look at some of the brands, particularly some of the bigger brands, even the largest store couldn't possibly stock everything.
right.
How many different models of Roubaix or Tarmacs are there from
Oh
Specialized? There's a
yeah.
lot. So
Mm-hmm.
this allows you to stock it virtually.
Mm-hmm.
And because most consumers are going to meet your website before they come in the store these days, then it's right there for them to see, and it keeps that relationship local, which is what we're hoping for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, back when I was working at a shop, we were just a smaller shop right across from Colorado State University's campus. And so we catered more to that type of rider. We didn't have a ton of floor space.
Hmm.
And yeah, and we utilized Supplier Sync, and that definitely made an impact on our business. So
Cool.
yeah. So maybe we should talk about,
Who we signed up this year?
yeah. I tried to go in order of of when they signed up or maybe re-signed up. So I think one in particular was Santa Cruz. They were
Hmm.
someone that we had worked with in the past, and they came back on board. So, Santa Cruz has been a really great partner in lots of ways. Ibis, we released Ibis this year, or
Yeah.
launched, I should say. That was really exciting. And then most recently, Otso. And then actually, today we're launching Gazelle.
How about that?
Yeah.
Happy Gazelle Day.
Happy Gazelle Day. So I'm sure the emails will go out before we post this, but
Yeah. Awesome.
yeah. Yeah. Super exciting.
Yeah. And then internally, we continued to work hard on the point of sale features, which I guess we
Yeah.
officially launched back in January. They've been in the market I think from September or so, if, at least that's when we announced we were doing that
Yeah.
publicly in 2023, September.
Hmm.
But officially turned it loose in January, and we've signed up quite a few folks. So I think we've been surprised a little bit by the amount of interest in
Hmm.
it, because originally we were really kind of shooting for the stores that didn't have a solution.
Yeah.
And we've just seen even broader interest in it. So we're working real hard to get the features in place that can satisfy a broader range of stores.
Hmm.
And it's so far so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that development has been continuous. It's going to continue to be continuous. continue.
Continuous, continually continuous.
Yes, we are working on it all the
Yes.
time. So we tried to just pick a couple major, maybe major enhancements where we feel like we have a kind of like a full feature set. Does
Hmm.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, particularly I think work order management. That is looking really impressive. It's super intuitive, easy to use.
Yep. And that was something we got feedback on really quick, was
Yeah.
that's just a really important part of a lot of stores business. So having
Hmm.
a simple way to manage the service department and keep track of repairs and that kind of thing is important. And so we immediately began to do more work in that area. And it's probably the spot that's grown the most
Hmm.
this year, I would think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and I think that's kind of the benefit. I think people ask like, oh, maybe why utilize Workstand's POS? And I think a big part is that it's solely built for bike shops. So
Mhm.
we're just investing in enhancements and features that are for bike shops, you know.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons we released it relatively early. We certainly could have kept it under wraps and worked on it more, but the goal is not to build a point of sale that we think bike
Yeah.
shops want. It's
Hmm.
to build the point of sale that bike shops want.
Yep.
And so by putting it out early, we've gotten just amazing feedback from not just we had a group of beta users early on,
Hmm.
but not just from them. We did get a lot of great feedback from them, but also from the stores that see it and have adopted it, and the stores that look at it and say, you're on the right track. You know, it's not quite there for my store yet, but you're
Hmm.
on the right track, and here's what I'd like to see. All three classes of those retailers have given us amazing feedback, and it's been super helpful.
Yeah, it's really going to help drive some of our decision making or prioritization.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, we find the
Including one big
yes.
thing was everybody wants to be able to, particularly from work orders, text their customers
Hmm.
for things like your bike's ready, or turns out you need a chain, is this approved, or whatever. So we included that. And that's not particularly unique. Other point of sales have a function for that, but most of them, you're having to pay for an external service, which is not inexpensive. To do that, we built it in. So if you're at our pro level, what we call conversations is going to be part of it. And
Hmm.
if you're at local or light or just the retail version without any website package, then that'll be a $49 a month add-on. But it won't be an add-on until March, I think we decided. So it's
Correct.
certainly there for everybody to use now to test it out. But
Hmm.
that's, I think, less than half of what most of those third-party apps cost per month.
Yeah.
So pretty helpful.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I think it's super exciting. It's been very convenient, help kind of build some efficiencies in. I think it's be time consuming calling people. Who wants to talk on the phone these days anyway? Come
You
on.
don't. And it's just no point in having that time consumed. It's just easier this way. And
Yep.
that feature conversations, the SMS messaging, that'll make its way into other parts of the application over time too. Next, I think the next stop it'll be in sales.
Yep.
So maybe you get a sale going, you can't quite close it, but you've got all the information. You could text over and ask them if they're still interested, maybe shoot them a 10% discount, that kind of thing.
Hmm. Yeah, or maybe there was an item that needed to be ordered on that sale. Easy way to kind of get in touch with the customer.
Yeah.
Do you ever, speaking of don't want to talk on the phone anymore, have you seen some of the funny, like, memes and videos regarding different generations and how we respond to people ringing our doorbell or
Yeah.
it's so accurate. I'm a millennial, 100%.
Yeah, it's the fear that a phone call strikes in the heart of a millennial. It's right up there with getting in a car and seeing a clutch.
Yeah, I can't drive stick, but at least my husband can. So there's that.
I
Don't
still
you
drive.
dare show up at my door without calling or texting me.
I still drive a manual transmission.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do they make those?
They do. A handful of cars still come in manual. I still drive a manual. No particular reason. I like the activity.
Yeah.
I find it
I hear that.
engaging and reminds me of when I learned to drive and all sorts of things.
I know a couple millennials that chose to drive manual as well because they like that there's they like the driving aspect of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway.
I do feel special these days knowing how to do that.
You are special, Mark.
Okay, enough about us. We did not only work on point of sale features this year. We had other things going on in the e-com side of the business, the websites and such. One of the big changes, there were two, and we only have one in that list of our notes, but I just thought of the other one. But one of the big ones was changes on the product detail pages, the way we display variations. And that was immediately well received. And,
Yes.
Frankly, a long time coming, but we got there. And I think it makes the shopping process more intuitive and more in line with some other larger platforms. And it's been well received.
Yeah, absolutely. So we kind of updated those. You see the variations of the product in little tiles, and it very quickly updates as to what's available and what's, what you can do.
Yeah, very nice. Cool. The other thing is we did a lot of infrastructure work this year, which is not very much fun to talk about in this kind of setting, but it's important, and it's important that it always goes on. And we've been that's been a focus of the company since 2016, 17, when Ryan came along. And we made big changes. And one of those is we're still rolling it out, but the checkout process has been completely rebuilt. And so we're rolling that out in stages to, again, get additional feedback, make sure it's rock solid and ready. So far, so good. It looks like it's going really well.
Yeah. And so it's a single page checkout. So it's really simple, clean. I would say it's maybe an example if someone hasn't seen it yet, or you're maybe not in that pool of retailers that it's been rolled out to. More in line with what you see on like a Shopify website. So
maybe it will show up right here.
Ooh.
As we're talking about it.
Yeah, I have a screenshot somewhere.
One of the other things I thought would be fun is I mentioned early on that the podcast has grown a fair amount. And I mean that in terms of the number of times people watch the YouTube version and the audio downloads. And of course, I watch it a lot because I watch it when I edit it. I always watch it on YouTube, and then I always listen to it at least once while I'm out walking Watts.
Mark loves the sound of his own voice.
I do love to hear me talk. That's not why I listened. I hear me talk a lot, but I feel like I want to make sure the production quality is where we want, et cetera. But it really has grown. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about some of the more popular episodes, and not by far and away. I don't want Ryan to get too, impressed with himself. But clearly, the clear winner are the episodes we started doing this year, where Ryan joins us and we talk about our platform results, what we're seeing from month to month in terms of retailer sales through the platform, what he sees in a broader sense in retail and in a broader sense in the industry. And then lately we've gotten a lot of good insight because he's just involved with People for Bikes and other organizations. So he's been able to bring that to the podcast. And I think that's been super helpful for stores to be able to have a place to hear that kind of information. So that's, again, not by far and away, but it clearly, maybe by far and away, the best the most viewed and downloaded episodes that we had this year.
Yeah, I think it really, I think it's beneficial to Let's Post. It's great for me to kind of see, especially when I'm trying to promote our services to retailers, make sure I'm in line with kind of what's going on in the industry and making sure I can offer up the most helpful suggestions on how to utilize our services. So yeah, hopefully people feel
well, we're spoiled. We can always talk to Ryan.
This internally.
Is true. So it's good, and I appreciate him taking the time. He has a lot going on, so I appreciate him taking the time. It's just fun to hang out with him. So it's been good. Those episodes were followed closely by a few different types of episodes. So when obviously the POS features, whenever we've talked about POS specifically, that's been pretty popular episodes. But then episodes where we gave actionable tips, and we were specific about do these things that'll help grow sales or get new customers. Those were always very popular episodes too. And to us, they're simpler episodes for us, I think, because that's the kind of thing you're always trying to get across to folks in our marketing, and that I'm always talking to people about. But turns out that the reason we probably end up talking to people a lot one-on-one about it in our marketing is people are interested in it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Those are some of my favorite topics, I guess. It kind of things we can, easily get content for and talk about. And I think it's something that we're both passionate about. So
exactly. So we will keep that in mind as we think about next year. Hopefully, Ryan has us penciled in for 2025, maybe even more of that.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. So we're going to take a little December breather.
Little breather. Just because it's a busy time for us internally. And we get a little shorthanded across because some folks need to take some time off during the holidays. So we'll take a break for December. We'll be back in January. We will think about all the things we want to do to improve the podcast. And that's a great opportunity for folks listening to say, well, I like it, but it'd be nice if you did this. So podcast@workstand.com, or in the notes, if you're watching on YouTube, just go down the comments and leave us a comment on what you might like to see or not like to see. That's valid feedback as well.
We are open.
We're open. Absolutely. But then looking forward to 2025, I think we'll stick to, this year we went from every week to twice a month. And I think that was probably a good idea. So I think we'll stick with that. But anyway, we're going to think through all the things we do with around the Workstand, think about how we can make it better, listen to any feedback we get, love the feedback. I would like to start having guests on outside of Workstand.
Yes. Who wants to see these two faces all the time? Sometimes Ryan.
Besides me, I like watching.
I think it'd be cool. Get some different voices, different perspectives, maybe some retailers who specialize in, different areas of the business. I think that would be very fun.
E-bikes are huge. So we've talked about having some e-bike only, retailers that didn't necessarily start off in the bike world, that started off in other industries and saw the e-bike explosion in popularity as an opportunity. So some of those, maybe some stores that have focused on a very service heavy focus, whatever we can think of that's out there that's different. And then, maybe some suppliers. We've talked to a few different ones that were interested, that they reached out about the podcast and liked what we were doing. So maybe we'll have some of those folks on. Yeah,
that'd be awesome. I'll be very excited.
Yeah. And I do want to keep having internal folks on because Lauren and Barbara and Alex's episodes were all very well viewed. So that could be fun to have them back on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Well, we have so much to look forward to in the meantimes. Happy holidays. I hope everyone survives their families. That's really my...
Survives and or avoids their family.
They don't listen to the podcast, so I can say whatever I need to say. But
it is on all the podcast platforms. They may stumble across it one day.
The only chance it would be my sister, and she'd be like, yeah, that's accurate.
Okay.
But yeah, have a wonderful end of year. We can't wait to keep doing this in 2025.
Right on.
So I guess we'll see you around the Workstand.